like to welcome everyone here tonight. We got a nice crowd. Beautiful day out today. So we'd like to start here. First of all, we'd like to thank Extension for letting us the use of this facility here. And then I'd like to mention where the exits are. Got an exit back here, and there's restrooms in the back here too, if anyone needs to use those. So getting us started off here, we have Michelle. She's our ag agent here in Campbell County, and she's got something to say for us there.
I'm before supper, so I'll make it fast. I know how that works. But as Rick said, I'm Michelle Simon. I'm the ag agent here in Campbell County. This is the Cooperative Extension Service, if you didn't know that already. Hopefully you did. You knew where you were coming tonight. We are a branch of the University of Kentucky, so we offer educational programming in agriculture and natural resources, horticulture, family and consumer science, and we also have a 4-H youth development program. So if you'd like more information, please let me know. We've got a lot of flyers out in the foyer. If you don't find it there, ask me. I'd love to work with you. We do have a few of our district board members here tonight if you guys would like to raise your hands. So big thank you to them. They're the reason we have this nice facility and all the amenities that we do. So I really love working with them, so I appreciate you all. Also, I just want to say I can't speak enough volumes of the Conservation District here. We are so lucky to have an active extension service and an active conservation district, and we work together so well, and I can't say how much I appreciate that and how grateful I am for that. A lot of counties cannot say that, but I can brag that, I'm just going to say we have the best one, so there's that, right? And then finally, I just want to say congratulations to all the award winners. You guys have worked really hard, so you should be really proud of that, and I'll let you all take it from there.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle.
Oh, would you like to raise your hand as well? We have our representative with us this evening. Thank you for attending. We really appreciate that. We have a few of the county commissioners as well, if you guys would like to raise your hands too. So we appreciate it. Without the support of you all, these events wouldn't be able to happen. So thank you.
Okay, to start the program tonight, we'd like to stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, you guys can remove your hats. I have a little prayer before we eat here. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for your many blessings. We thank you for this free country we live in. Please bless and protect the ones that serve to protect our freedom. Thank you for this opportunity to honor and reward those here that have worked to showcase their accomplishments with the Conservation District. We ask you, Lord, to bless this food that has been prepared for us, the ones that prepared it, and all those present. Lastly, we ask that you grant everyone a safe journey home tonight, and may God bless America. Amen. So we'll start the meal. I believe they have everything ready down here, so we'll make things easy. We'll just start on down there. Corey, you can be the first one. How's that sound? Excellent job tonight. Thanks very much. Very good, very good, very good. So I'd like to introduce some of our special guests here tonight. We have Mark Hart. He's a state representative. Here's Mark here. Okay, we've got Meg Crail and Kevin Neltner here from the Campbell County Farm Bureau. We have Kathy Lauer and Michelle Simon here from the Campbell County Extension. So, moving on here, we got Brian Painter and Jeff Bessinger here, our county commissioners. So, from the Campbell County Conservancy, we've got Amy Downton and Jim Benton. And Jennifer Bergen, our KACD Area 5 Director. Here. I'll introduce here the district board. I'm Rick Simon. We got Susan Orlip Turner over here, and we got Larry Shadler down at the end. We got Kurt Hill. We got Kevin McCormick, And his dad, Ken McCormick, he is a former supervisor and a longtime board member. And Rick Carr also. We have Patty Dishart and Linda Grizel as our staff. Linda's back here. And Chris Rawson, our soil conservationist. So, moving on here, we have to have the NRCS Conservationist of the Year. I'm going to have the page here. I'm sorry. Wrong page. Get started. Start over. We got the Campbell County FFA chapter presented by Susan Orla Turner. Okay.
So the FFA brings farming knowledge and agricultural education to the next generation. They also strongly encourage community involvement in the development of leadership skills among their membership. This year, the FFA students assisted the Conservation District by manning the Farmer for a Day booth at the Farm and Livestock Expo in May. And they also assisted many of the host farms for our annual Backroads Farm Tour. Tonight, we acknowledge their hard work and dedication. It is with much gratitude that we present them with a $1,000 check to continue their important mission. We welcome Grace Woodyard, the FFA advisor and ag teacher at Campbell County High School, and her FFA students and their officers. When I call out your name, come on up, and we'll introduce.
You said fine.
There you go. And when you come up, if you will stay up here so we can get a group picture, we greatly appreciate it. This is Grace Woodyard, the advisor. And then we've got Morgan Allender, the secretary. Macy Miller, the junior secretary. Haley Kramer, the treasurer. Peyton Harris, the junior treasurer. Lily Trapp. Oh, she's not here. Chairman. Bethany Peters, also a chairman. How about Casey?
Casey is not.
We've got Tally Downs. She's the student advisor. Caitlin Juring, chairman. Alexis Ferguson, chairman. Maddie Bowling, the president.
The next three are not.
Brianna Shields is also a chairman. And we greatly appreciate all of your hard work and support that you give the Conservation District.
So many.
It is nice to have such a good representation.
Thank you all.
No, thank you.
Okay, do you want us down there for a picture, Michelle?
There
Okay.
you go. And then I think Rick Carr is up next.
I'll let them sit down there. Okay, well, while they're walking around and sitting down, my name is Rick Carr. I'm one of the supervisors at the Soil and Water Conservation District. And I'm here to, we're going to talk about this tree planting and urban forest enrichment grant. The grant was created by the board in like 1993. And what it does is it gives money to the different cities and their different communities that have programs to develop projects to protect and preserve the natural resources. Usually it's like planting trees and that sort of thing. So anyway, this year there were 3 grants, but it has to be on public property. So, so they give the money to the cities, and then the cities plant trees. And I was thinking about that. If one person, like one homeowner, he probably can't go out and buy a tree and stick it somewhere in the city. But if you have 10 people in the community, just give a little bit of money, and then they, pool the money together, and you get trees all over the whole community so that everybody in the community gets to use it. Well, the city of Alexandria, I don't see anybody here. Is anybody here from the city of Alexandria? Well, yeah, but representing the city. I mean, don't, not the mailing address, Amy. But anyway, okay, I'll represent the city because I'm on this Alexandria Park Board. And they got, the city of Alexandria was awarded a check in the amount of $470. And what we did was it was a reforestation of the community park. It's the old reservoir park out on Grandview Road. We had a bunch of trees that were dying, around the lake and all. So we went in and we took out the trees and planted new ones. And the idea is, well, let's see, we planted, there were 7 trees that were dying, and they were creating some bare spots. So we bought 4 oak trees and planted them on the site there. And the Conservation District gave us a grant for that. And then the city of Fort Thomas also got a grant, and they planted some more trees in the Highland Hills Park tree planting project. They got $1,500, the city of Fort Thomas. And the idea was just plant more native trees, take out some of the exotics and plant new native trees. And the idea was it would give some shade for the dog park and people to sit under the trees. And then the West Side Citizens Coalition down in West Side in Newport, they over the years, they've planted like 600 trees on the west side of Newport. I don't think anybody's here. Is anybody here from Newport? The west side? The West Side Citizen Coalition. No, nobody's here. Coalition. So anyway, they got $3,651 to plant trees in the west side. And like I said, over the years they've planted like 600 trees down there. And so anyway, that's the tree grant program. I guess nobody's here to get it, but they still got the money. So, and then let's see. The next one on the program is all the farm dump cleanup. Now this is a program, it's a 75-25 reimbursement program. So I guess the homeowner, if you own a big farm, you probably know about the farm dumps. Years ago, we didn't have garbage pickup. So all the farmers just took all their cans and bottles and trash and just threw it in a creek somewhere. Well, we don't do that anymore, obviously. And we're, as a district, we're trying to clean up some of those dumps. And it's a cost share program with a cap up of $2,500. This program is offered to help farmers clean up farm dumps and comply with the Kentucky Agricultural Water Quality Act. There were 2 landowners in the county this year that received it. Chance, do we have it? Okay, Chance Eiselman, is he here? I guess not. He received $2,500 for cleaning up 150 by 200 feet area, and it was an old dump area, and he reseeded it, and now it's a pasture. He cleaned up 125 or 150 tires that were on the farm, and he got paid for we assisted him to get rid of that, and now he replanted it with grass, and now his livestock graze on it. And then there was Jonathan Neltner. Is anybody here that would want to get that? No? Okay. Jonathan was awarded $2,500 for cleaning up a 200 feet by 50 feet area, and it had a bunch of glass and tires and garbage and wire and metal from the farm on Decker Road. And now the area has been reseeded, so everybody's using that, all the animals. So that's the farm dump program. I guess nobody's here to get that either, huh? Okay. And then, but I know this guy's here. This is the wastewater disposal local cost share. This is again a 75-25 reimbursement, and it's up to $2,500, and it's a financial incentive for landowners to dispose of effluent properly by carrying the wastewater into a septic system. A lot of times leach lines, you know, it's Campbell County, so a lot of things don't perk like they should. And so anyway, we try to repair those, and the idea is to keep the effluent water out of the creeks and streams. So anyway, we had a really good guy named Jeff Bessinger. Is he here? Good old Jeff. Come on up, Jeff. You want to explain it to us, what you did? You're pretty good at public speaking.
Well, first of all, thank you so much. These programs are great for folks in the community, right? And more and more people are taking advantage of them because it's the right thing to do as well. We had a backup of stuff where our main pipe of our sewer going out of the house was cracked, and we didn't know it, and it was backing up. So we ended up getting a camera out there from a local plumbing company, and they realized, hey, this thing's cracked, it's broken, it's kind of working, but it's not going in the place it's supposed to go, and so got it fixed, and I certainly, this went a long way to help with that fixing of it. So
Thank you, Jeff. Thanks for all you do.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Jeff.
All right, I'm Kevin McCormick. I'm one of the supervisors, and I'm going to start with heavy use area local cost share. This program is a 75-25 reimbursement for up to $2,500. Its purpose is to protect or stabilize heavily used livestock areas prone to soil erosion. 4 landowners were awarded this fiscal year. Please come forward when I call your name and for a group picture and your certificate. Daniel Schock. Daniel was awarded a check in the amount of $2,500 to pour a 52-foot by 21-foot steel reinforced concrete pad around his feeding area for his livestock during the winter months. Gene Pritchard. Gene was awarded a check in the amount of $2,500 for completing 4 heavy use areas with access to walkways for a total area of 1,120 feet by 15 feet using filter fabric pad and limestone. Chad Beasold. Chad was awarded a check for $2,371.48 for constructing a 75-foot by 30-foot heavy use area around his barn using 80 ton of DGA rock. He also built a wooden fence around the pad for a secure feeding area. Jonathan Neltner. John was awarded the check in the amount of $2,500 for constructing a gravel heavy use area to be used for transitioning cattle between a feeding area and an existing concrete lot. The alleyway is 14 foot by 50 feet and the feeding area is 35 feet by 50 feet. Okay, now for the supplemental agriculture local cost share. This program is a 75-25 reimbursement for up to $2,500. Its purpose is to reduce runoff pollution from agricultural operations. There must be an existing resource management problem that is adversely affecting the soil and/or water resources. The program is limited to landowners in an agricultural or silvicultural enterprise are not not traditionally included in federal or state cost share programs. Some may include but are not limited to equestrian, horticulture, forestry, agritourism, small animal, forage improvement, on-farm water, and fencing expenses. 2 landowners were awarded this fiscal year. Again, please come forward for your certificate in the picture. Jonathan Neltner. John was awarded a check in the amount of $2,500 for constructing an uncovered concrete block waste facility with a concrete floor. His property is a ridge top, and it makes it difficult to have practical waste collection area. He followed his comprehensive nutrient management plan, dimensions of 32 feet by 50 feet area, to comply with the best management practice set forth in his plan. Chad Beazold. Chad was awarded a check in the amount of $2,075.48 for barn gutters, installing a waterer to keep cattle from going to spring water in the wintertime and eroding the pastures. Okay, now for the cover crop cost share. This again is a 75-25 reimbursement local cost share with a cap of up to $1,000 to cover crops, improve soil health, prevent erosion, and can control pests and diseases, sustainable agriculture. 1 landowner was awarded this for the fiscal year, and again, please come forward. Chad Beazold. Chad was awarded $1,000 for seeding 2 acres of ground. It was a challenge for him because the ground was compacted and had not been worked for many years, but he wanted to have a good base for his cover stand. His seed mixture consisted of oats and annual ryegrass. Okay, now for the tree swap program. The purpose of this program is to help control the spread of invasive trees in Campbell County by swapping 2 Callery Bradford pear trees or other invasives with 2 native hardwood trees. We partnered with Gaduli Landscaping Supplies and Services, who supplied the trees for us. Applicants went to Gaduli's to select from a variety of 10 native trees. Application period is from March 1st through October 31st each year, and the total cost of the trees is covered by the Conservation District. Installation or removal costs are the responsibility of the applicant. We had 9 people who participated in the 2023-24. They replaced either 1 or 2 invasive trees with native trees. Again, if you'll please come forward for your certificate. Jeremy Hildebrand. Jeremy removed 2 pear trees and replaced them with 2 Brandywine maple trees. Joseph Rossler. Joe replaced 1 Callery pear tree with a tulip poplar. Robin Duber. Robin replaced 2 Callery pear trees with magnolia and white pine trees. Megan Winslow. Megan replaced a Callery pear and silverberry tree with a magnolia and riverburst tree. Jim Benton. Jim replaced 2 Callery pear trees with 2 red oak trees. Ethel Huck. Ethel replaced 2 Callery pear trees with 2 Sun Valley maple trees. Sharon Goodridge. Sharon replaced 2 Callery pear trees with maple and white pine trees. Kathy Wisher. Kathy replaced 2 Callery pear trees with maple and crabapple trees. Brett Shout. Brett replaced 1 Callery pear tree and and a blue spruce with a red bud tree. All right, if we can have applause for these grants.
Hi, I'm Larry Shaler, District Supervisor. I'm awarding a gift to the 2024 Farm Tour host. The Campbell County Conservation District held its first farm tour in 2009. This year we had 1,781 total visitors, with 1,211 being first-time visitors. From the 12 farms on the tour, people experienced and learned about wineries, homegrown vegetables, equine breeding and training, freezer beef, greenhouses, swine, chickens, homemade breads, jams, and jellies, and fresh-cut flowers. The Northern Kentucky Saddle Club hosted the Licking Valley Antique Tractor Club at stop number 3. This year, each host receives a backpack cooler. Please come forward when I call your farm name to receive your host gift and for a group picture. So the first one is 12 Mile Beef. Out here is Little Rock Farm. Mason Greenhouse. Do a group photo? Okay. Misty Ridge Farm. Neltner's Farm. Seven Wells Vineyard and Winery. Stonebrook Winery. TC Farm. Congratulations. Yellow Star Acres. Let's see, Northern Kentucky Saddle Club. Okay, Michelle. Let's see, Homegrown Hobner Hill. And then the last one is Casson Armand Farm. Appreciate it.
Hi everyone, my name is Kurt Hill. I am a district supervisor and we're going to be talking about the Backyard Conservation Local Cost Share. So this is a 75-25 reimbursement program with a cap of $500. It's intended to assist landowners' costs while implementing conservation practices that benefit the soil and water quality as well as wildlife habitat. Practices may include, but are not limited to, rain barrels, raised beds, monarch butterfly stations, invasive removal, tree planting, among other things. And this fiscal year, we awarded 18 landowners for this program. So please come forward when I call your name, and we'll do a group picture and certificates. So first up, Jim Brobst. Jim wanted to rehabilitate his yard by adding soil and planting native trees to his home in southern Campbell County. He was awarded $500 for his purchase of 3 red maple trees, 2 sweet bay magnolias, and a bald cypress tree. Next, Krista Shepard. Krista was awarded $500 for adding a large landscaping berm to her backyard in Alexandria by adding a variety of native trees and grasses in the hope of providing essential habitat and food sources for wildlife and insects. She wanted to bring back a healthy ecosystem in a subdivision that is currently lacking Kentucky native trees and grasses. Next, Mark Baroni. Mark was awarded $496 for planting 5 tulip poplar trees in his yard in southern Campbell County to help with soil erosion and to provide a habitat for birds. Jeremy Hildebrand was awarded $500 for removing a honeysuckle section of trees in his backyard in Alexandria to allow for native trees and plants to thrive there. He is in the process of also replacing some calorie player trees with native trees, which is great. Next up, Sarah Imbis. She was awarded $500 for removing invasives and planting a native garden for wildlife and pollinators in her backyard in Fort Thomas. Jeff Bessaker was awarded $500 for building a greenhouse with raised beds and constructing a composting station in his backyard in southern Campbell County. We heard the summer was great for the garden, which is good to hear. James Johnson. James was awarded $500 for installing 3 raised garden beds in his backyard in Highland Heights so he can grow his own vegetables. Mark Collier. Mark was awarded $500 for the removal of honeysuckle and Bradford pear trees in his backyard in Fort Thomas. He will replant native trees and create a new rain garden. Matthew Dishar. Matthew was awarded $451 for installing raised beds in his backyard in Dayton so he can produce his own produce. Ryan Fleeman. Ryan was awarded $500 for removing honeysuckle on his property, and he wants to establish and improve wildlife habitat. Nicholas Sanders. Nicholas was awarded $500 for restoring his backyard with native plants and added drainage stone. A pool actually once occupied this area and was in dire need of restoration. Congrats.
Very nice. Thank you.
Elizabeth McMillan McCartney. Elizabeth was awarded $449 for installing a watering system consisting of 2 rain barrels, guttering, solar pumps, and associated hardware, hoses, and tubing to her backyard in southern Campbell County. Ann Santhus. Ann was awarded $414 for installing raised flower beds to attract pollinators and to beautify her yard in Cold Spring. Alex Siska. Alex was awarded $497 for installing raised beds in her backyard in Melbourne to teach her family how to grow their own food. Stephen Byers. Stephen was awarded $259 for planting a maple tree and an oak tree in his backyard in Fort Thomas. He loves trees and wanted to help sustain life there. Jessica Harsaran. Jessica was awarded $500 for planting trees, 3 redbud trees specifically, 2 flowering dogwood trees, and 2 American beech trees, as well as a tulip poplar in her backyard in Alexandria. Jewel Johnson. Jewel was awarded $500 for installing raised beds in her backyard in California so that she can grow her own produce. Amy Moore. Amy was awarded $431 for installing raised beds for native wildflowers and vegetables and 2 rain barrels so that they can grow their own and also conserve water. All right, next up is the Campbell County Agricultural Development Council. So the County Agricultural Development Councils were established by the General Assembly in 2000 to develop local strategies for enhancing agricultural opportunities and assisting local farmers. Each council develops a comprehensive plan which is reviewed every 5 years. Each county has a 9-member county council that reviews applications and makes funding decisions to invest their county agricultural development funds. Member terms expire on June 30th of even-numbered years. So our Campbell County Agricultural Development Council members representing the Conservation District are Cindy Beazle and Gary Nelson. Their terms will expire on June 30th of 2026, and we thank them for representing the Campbell County Conservation District and serving on this council.
Next, we have the Young Farmers Award. Recipients of this award must be Campbell County residents between ages of 18 and 39. They must have at least 1 year, but no more than 6 years as operators or cooperators on a working farm. They must have an agricultural water quality plan and have a good working relationship with the Campbell County Conservation District. They must have completed at least one best management practice and completed at least one educational session sponsored by the Conservation District, USDA, or Extension Service. This year, this award is presented to Will and Mary Kate Chowning of Cedar Hill Farms. We will watch a video here, and then after the video, we ask them to come up to receive their award.
I'm Will Chowning,
And I'm Mary Kate Chowning.
and we are the operators and owners of Cedar Hill Farm. We took over the farm in 2021 from the previous owners. One of the first things we did was we named it Cedar Hill Farms. As we were trying to find a name for the farm, we looked around and we found an old mailbox that had Cedar Hill Farms painted on it. And through a little bit of research, we found out that that was the original name of the farm back 30, 40 years ago. And we thought, you know, what a better way to honor the previous owners and the ones who helped build this place than to rename it after, you know, its original name. One of the first things we did was put an emphasis on improving the health of our sheep herd in addition to all of our pastures. The sheep had been somewhat in bad health when we took over the farm. They kind of came with it when we took it over, so that's how we ended up raising sheep. So we first started to improve their health, to get them back in shape and to start to build up a better herd.
One of the first things that we tried to do was we started out with about 150 sheep. They were not sorted out by, it was basically a bunch of ram lambs breeding their sisters and mothers. So we got rid of all of the ram lambs, was like 20 or 25 of them in total. And then we dwindled down our herd and we started to look at our soil health because the pastures had been very much overgrazed with what little that we had. So I did a lot of soil testing. We cleaned out the barn. We spread manure. We've looked at spreading lime and adding fertilizer, and we also want to currently add more clover to our fields because we don't really have any legumes, anything that like puts anything back into the soil. We just have things that are taking things out of the soil. So that is one of our goals continuously, and that's when we started to, you know, cut down and start to maybe move our flock a little bit between the two pastures that we do have.
And after that, we started to kind of work on some more infrastructure things. We repaired a couple barn roofs, we repaired fence. We put in almost 2,500 feet of new fence last year to split our pasture again, so we had some more opportunities for rotational grazing.
We have about 50 sheep right now. We have 13 lambs, and so those lambs will be processed in December and in the springtime. And we sell individual cuts of meat outright to people. So we kind of went through the hard time of finding somewhere that processes lamb and that is USDA inspected, because if we sell them individual cuts, they have to be USDA inspected. So we sell the lambs for meat. We raise Katahdins, that's the breed of sheep, and they're hair sheep, so we don't have to shear them. So that takes away a lot of extra work. So they kind of just stay on the pasture and do their thing and grow until they're ready to be processed. And then our Christmas trees, this April, we planted 500, and because it's been so dry, we've lost about 100 of them. So we're only down to 400, but we essentially took pasture that we had that was just very much overused, and that we were just kind of bush hogging down and didn't really have a purpose, but it was just kind of at the end of its pasture life, and converted it to Christmas tree fields. So we have 2 fields up there, which are probably like, what, 2 acres?
Probably
so
close.
Yeah, and so we plan to sell our Christmas trees within the next like 5 to 6 years, and then we'll replant more as we go.
Like you said, we were looking for a way to pull those pastures out of the production that they were in with sheep and with other things, and what we wanted to do also was find a way to plant something up there that would be more sustainable for the land, other than just bush hogging it every year, but still be able to keep the land in production and, you know, to make it still usable for the farm. And as we were looking at different options, you know, cutting hay, doing different stuff, one of the ones that made sense to us is Christmas trees. And so, like she said, we planted 500 there this spring, and you know, it's been a challenge with the weather. We've been watering probably almost at least once a week, just to keep them alive through this really dry summer that we've had. We've done a lot of soil testing up there to figure out, you know, what is working and what isn't for those varieties. And you know, I think as we go forward, what we've learned from that as well is that, you know, we need to kind of test the soil in a specific area where it is, and then determine what trees can go there and what we need to do to the soil to fix it. We're looking forward to using the Conservation District's lime spreader next year in order to kind of amend our pastures as well. There's a lot of areas in the pasture that, you know, could use some lime, and it could use a lot of fertilizer. That's what we bought our manure spreader for, is to have a more sustainable option for fertilizer in the pastures that doesn't have a big impact on everything else. So we're able to utilize the manure that we already have from our sheep and put it on the pastures, and bring some of that soil health back to the ground that has, you know, been taken away for so many years with overgrazing and other things. And I think we plan, you know, next year as well to apply for some of the grants from the Conservation District in order to put some new fence in and have, you know, 3 or 4 pastures that we're able to rotate our sheep between, so we don't have as much foot traffic in certain areas and some heavy use areas. That way, you know, we can kind of protect the soil as we're still being able to use it for production. Fortunately, we do have city water, so we're able to water the sheep here in the barn with city water. One of the other things we have is a lake on top of our ridge here. That feeds an automatic water out in the pasture, so the sheep have access to water in both the pasture and here in the barn. Up on top of the hill where our Christmas trees are, we're very lucky to find a well there. So we've been able to water all of our Christmas trees with natural groundwater. So from a sustainability standpoint, it really helps us out that we're not having to haul water there. We're not having to collect, you know, rainwater or things. We're able to pump water right out of the ground and use that, you know, to water the trees. The other thing is, you know, natural water sources are always better from what we've discovered for plants, because it doesn't have some of the stuff that's added to it, you know, to make it safe for human consumption. And so, you know, from a mineral standpoint, from other things, there's a lot that's, you know, good for the trees that we're able to pull out of that well and water them. And thankfully, you know, even though we've had such a dry summer, our well only ran dry for about a day. Other than that, we've been very fortunate to be able to pull 600 gallons probably at least a week out of that well in order to water all those trees. You know, as we're learning stuff, we've tried to make it accessible for everyone else too. That's why we started our Facebook page to post, you know, some of those reels that show the kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly of farming. One of the things we really try to do with that is make sure we're not just showing the fun and exciting parts of this. We wanted to show the difficult parts, and, you know, so people get a real sense of what it is to run a farm. We enjoy it, we love it, but at the end of the day, it is a lot of hard work, and we're very thankful that there's groups like the Conservation District that have programs to support, you know, young farmers like us that are trying to pave our own way and make a difference, and, you know, build something that will last for generations here.
Very good presentation. Will Will and Mary Kate come forward or get their award? Again, congratulations. Next, we have the Cooperator of the Year award. Recipients of this award must be Campbell County residents and actively farm land in Campbell County. They must have been farming for at least 3 years, be good stewards of the land by implementing best management practices, and have an agriculture water quality plan. They must be involved with the conservation district in at least one district, state, or federal program administered by the conservation district, and have completed an educational program sponsored by the conservation district, USDA, or Extension Service. This year's award is being presented to Daniel and Darlene Chalk and family. We will watch a video of the Chalk family prepared by the Campbell Media.
I'm Corey Chalk. We're here at my mom and dad's farm on the end of Gunkel Road. My dad here, Dan, and my mother, Darlene, have lived here since 1974. My dad has grown up farming. He grew up off of Wagner Road by Gubser's Mill. Been farming his whole life. Again, he moved here in 1974. Been farming here ever since. Grew up raising cattle, had a dairy, raised tobacco. That stopped. What grade were you in?
High school.
Stopped, which was in the late 60s. They raised tobacco and then started running beef cattle. He said he moved here in 1974 and has continued to have beef cattle. In 2007 and 2008, we built, myself built a house here and my sister built a house here on the farm. We all live here close together. Just been a great place to live and enjoy living in Campbell County. Lots changed. When Dad first moved here, there was one large barn. It's a post and tenon barn that we still have today. It's probably 150 years old now. It's took a lot of time and money into trying to keep it up. There were several small outbuildings. Most of them are all gone. Since then, we've built a hoop barn, a couple pole barns, several other buildings as the farming's expanded. We farm 3 of the neighbors' places here, as well as several other farms we graze hay on and throughout 4 Mile and the surrounding areas. But it's changed dramatically. We went from using a Ford 8N and Ford 900 to now we have a cab tractor, and went from square baling to round baling. Lots changed over the years. It's not nearly as hard to work as it used to be. It might be long hours, but not nearly as hard to work. The last probably 10 years or so, we've gotten more into trying to use the same amount of property but expand our farming. Through that, done several grants. I think we've actually got this year will be our 3rd CAPE grant, which is from tobacco money. We've got 3 grants for a heavy use area from Conservation District. Since we've done that, we've added a rotational grazing system. Added, like I said, a heavy use area where we feed the cattle on the heavy use area that Conservation District has helped pay for, which also helps the cattle to stay out of the mud and on a dry, clean surface, not only just for conservation, but just for animal comfort. We put in a new handling facility with a crowding tub that some CAPE money paid for. We have another small building that we built that CAPE money helped to pay for our sick pen if we have a sick animal. A lot of it, it's helped tremendously, and it's a good program to help you farm and do a better job at farming for us and the animals. We do several different practices, some of which we try to stockpile our manure and get it spread without leaving it out too long so it doesn't wash off. We use filter strips where we do spread manure, that there's a filter strip between the waterways. We tried the last probably 4 or 5 years, we've tried to manage weeds more so, trying to spray. Like this year I sprayed one section, and then this year I'll let the cows in it later and let them pick it down close, and we'll do frost seeding and sow red clover and the dino clover. Did that 2 years ago, and we got a lot of clover, and it's really improved the pasture. Fills in the those hoof prints pretty good, and it makes way better pasture, like you said. And all those programs have helped that, especially like rotational grazing, where we put up extra fence. We have, I think we're up to about 7 different pastures we have that we rotate all summer long. We have fenced off one of the creeks to keep cattle from getting into the creek. It's the place where we feed, one of the places where we feed in the wintertime, so we don't want cattle getting in the creek and causing erosion and manure to get in the creek. So it's a fenced off area, and then in the summertime we will flash graze it for a couple days. That's one way we've used the conservation district, and actually a Cape grant actually paid for part of that. We've soil tested. We soil test a lot more, even as much as soil tested pasture ground to see if it can be improved. Most time it doesn't that much, but what we've spread lime even on pasture ground, as well as the hayfield like everybody else does. We've lived here, like I said, Dad's been here for 50 years. I've been here my whole life. I lived in Alexandria for about 2 years. As a child, we didn't go on vacation. We stayed at home and farmed. We did occasionally, but we're close together because of that. We always work together. Now we do go on vacation occasionally, but
usually together.
And we do. It's helped. It's helped our families stay together, close together. Our faith. Our family's really big in faith, and between that and being together farming, it's been a great time.
It's been a blessing.
Very much so.
A well-deserved award to Dan and his family. So Dan, Darlene, Corey, you all want to come forward to get your award. Once again, congratulations, you guys. You've never seen any harder working people than these guys are here. I've known Dan for a long time. Remember he told me one time when he was in high school, he said there was many times he was out in the milk house milking the cows, and the school bus was out front waiting on him. So, congratulations again, you guys. Well deserved. Next, I'd like to say thank you to our sponsors and supporters, the Campbell County Extension Service, the Campbell County Fiscal Court, the Campbell County Farm Bureau, the Federation, the Campbell Conservancy Incorporated, the Campbell County Cattle Association, the Heritage Bank, the Campbell Media, Jack's Catering, Jennifer McVeigh, Classic Printing and Graphics, Gaduli Landscaping and Supplies, and Property Services. But next, didn't forget, we got Jim Benton and Valerie. They're going to be presented by the NRCS Conservationist of the Year. So we'll have a short video also for Jim.
Hi, I'm Jim Benton. My wife Valerie and I aren't from here, though we did get here as soon as we could. We came here from Virginia. I had a residential remodeling business, and she was a professor at Virginia Tech. I didn't want to try to start that business again here, so we bought an old farm, and this farm had a very dilapidated old house on it, built in 1905. I spent the next 3 years remodeling that house, and I turned it into a brand new old house. It's pretty cool. It was an exciting project, and we love living in it. When that house was completed, the neighboring farm came up for sale, and it had an even older house on it. I was excited to do the same project again. So I remodeled that second house, and now my father lives in it. When that project was done, a neighboring farm came up for sale again, and we were able to buy part of that. We think it's a terrific opportunity to own land, and we also feel a responsibility to improve that land, to restore that land to its pre-settlement conditions. When we got here, I could see that the woods were degraded and the water was polluted. It's filled with sediment. It runs chocolate milk colored every time it rains, and that's topsoil. So instead of continuing my residential remodeling, I started to remodel the land. I wanted to restore the land. I partnered with NRCS and their Environmental Quality Incentive Program to start removing honeysuckle. I love removing honeysuckle, I have to confess. I think it's terrific. I remove all sorts of invasive, non-native plants here on the property, and NRCS helps me plant native plants. I've planted tens of thousands of trees on this property. I've converted dozens of acres from Kentucky 31 to native warm season grass and other native grasses that were buried under the Kentucky 31. I've removed farm dumps. I've removed old buildings, old fences, just a lot of work. And it's paying off. It's visible right before our eyes. I can see an improvement in the wildlife. We have much greater wildlife diversity. The forests in the property are much healthier than they used to be. And I'm excited to spread the word. And one of the ways I'm spreading the word is by converting these old hay fields that we have into native warm season grass fields. My neighbor farmers have the same Kentucky 31 fields that they harvest for their cattle, but those fields have an endophyte fungus, a mold, living in them that makes cattle sick if they eat too much of it. But my farmer neighbors can't replace their fields because they need their fields to feed their cattle. They can't take a field out of production for very long. And in order to replace a field with native grasses, it's a 2 to 3 year process. So in addition to removing honeysuckle and other native woody plants, I'm also removing grasses. I've removed about 9 acres here, planted it with native warm season forage, and this is the first year that it's been harvested. Neighbor Chad is very excited for the product, and he promises to let me know how his cattle respond to it. I have another field on the other side of the property that's only planted this year, so it'll be a couple of years before Farmer Tyler can harvest that field, and I hope it's successful. I want my neighbors to see that native grasses are better for their cattle than the fescue that they're currently growing, and hopefully this idea will continue and catch on. I've been able to do this work not only with the help of NRCS, but also with the help of the Campbell County Conservation District. They've paid for me to remove numerous farm dumps on this property. They've paid for me to remove non-native trees, and they've given me well-established native trees to replace. And they've also helped me change this Kentucky 31 field into warm season forage. They've been very helpful, and I look forward to doing more projects with them in the future. The non-native plants in our region are a serious threat to the health of our woodlands. And so I would like to encourage all of you, whether you live in a suburb or more in the rural areas, but maybe just do some time in your own property to remove invasive plants. I suggest you just spend one weekend a year, maybe clear out the honeysuckle that's in the back corner of your property. Just go all the way up to the property line, take out all the invasive plants that are there, and that'd be great. And you could do it again next year, and then maybe you do it after that, and the year after that. And then pretty soon, you've doubled the size of your yard, you've reclaimed your property, and you've done good for the world around you. Thanks much.
Very good presentation, Jim. So
It was the editing.
It was the editing. Very good. You've done a lot of work down there. It looks good.
Thank you.
So if you want to come forward and get your award.
Oh, sweet.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Very good, Jim.
Oh, this is very handsome.
It is handsome, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it hanging up.
Me too. Me too. That's great. Help me hold it.
Help you hold it? Okay.
Come away from
I'll come away from the light. Okay.
Walk away from the light.
Very good. Jim Benton, Master Conservation. Well deserved. Well deserved.
Thank you very much.
So that sort of concludes our program for this evening. So wish everybody a safe trip home tonight, and thank you all for coming out. Sure appreciate your support.